moving on to the East, Hurricanes, Devils, Hurricanes in 4 for myself.
Okay.
Yeah, they're
Not even a
sweeping.
sniff.
No, the Devils are just done. Like they're just cooked. Like Sheldon Keefe's gonna be having angry press conference after
Nightmares.
angry press conference. Like Kovacevic, you better like just go hide in a closet for like the next 4 games because he is going to lose it. Yeah, it's gonna be embarrassing. Carolina definitely wins this series.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a hard time not picking the Hurricanes as well. I'll take them in 5 games, I think, here. For all the reasons you said, they've obviously lost their best player and they're in kind of a spot where they just haven't, I feel like, lived up to some of the expectations that people have set on them the last couple of years. So it's great to see them in the playoffs and things do happen. They have some talent that could allow them to kind of do some damage and make trouble, but I think Carolina's in a better position to kind of start their, hopefully next run. We'll see what happens with them. They'll go through the Metro and they've got as good a chance as anyone, I feel like, in the East. They're pretty well built as well, so we'll see what happens, but it'll be Carolina,
Listen,
I think.
We'll go to everyone's. Well,
whoa! I haven't given my pick yet.
Yeah,
you're jumping too far. You're too excited here.
I'm too excited for this next one that I'm about to say.
I don't have much to add. You guys pretty much highlighted it. Like, no Hughes, no Hamilton, maybe. The Devils are just in too deep a hole. I just think they can't. But I'll give them 6. I will say 6. I think they'll push back.
Wow.
But I still think that the Hurricanes are just like, let's just take care of business.
I just think they're too injured. That's why.
That's unfortunate.
I think if Hughes is in the lineup, I think the Devils might either win or at least force Game 7. Like that's the difference that Jack Hughes makes.
I'll give them the edge in the goaltending battle too. Like I think Markstrom should do enough to give them a chance. Like maybe 6-7 games. Like that's not out of the question because they should be okay in that department. It's just can they keep up with the Hurricanes? So no, that's a great observation, Alex.
Okay, so Battle of Florida. I personally, and Leafs fans want Tampa Bay, obviously, but I have Panthers in 6.
Okay.
Tampa Bay to me is the easiest team out of the 3 top Atlantic teams there is. And I'm being honest, like I don't like the fact that they don't have a great back core like the Panthers do, like the Maple Leafs do. I don't know where all this buzz is coming that, everyone likes the Lightning. Like they have a really good power play. They have a really good top 2 lines. But outside of that, they have Victor Hedman and a 35-year-old Ryan McDonough who's barely played over 20 minutes in the last 2 months. And you have Vasi back there, but like, give me the team that had Alexander Barkov, Sam Reinhart, Matthew Tkachuk, like Sam Bennett, Aaron Ekblad, all out of the lineup for the last 2 weeks. And you still, like, they're going to come back, and that lineup just gets deeper and deeper. That's the most complete team there is in the entire league. There is no more complete team. You have Gustav Forsling on the back end as well. Give me Panthers in 6.
I've struggled with this series for so long. Like since we kind of had the idea that the Leafs were probably going to win the division and this would be the matchup. I've had conversations with Justin. I know how he feels about Tampa. I have a hard time not picking them in this series, but I think at the same time, series is going to be one of those just battles of attrition where these guys are going to go at it pretty much every second of every game because this series I see going 7 games and I'm going to pick Tampa. I'm not going to say that Florida is clearly not the better team or is not in position to win the series, but it's similar to my thoughts on Edmonton. You're kind of limping in a little bit. Ekblad's going to miss the first couple. If they get down, it might be tough to kind of come back, but if Tkachuk's healthy, if all these guys are raring to go and they look good coming out of the gate, I give them just as much of a chance, but I just love what Tampa's offense looks like. I think they have enough on D. Hedman's going to probably play a ton of minutes, maybe more than he's ever done before, just because of how much he's going to be relied on. But, it's almost a wash in net, but I just love what Tampa's done. And they don't necessarily scare me in terms of an opponent, but I think they're sneaky in that way, and that they can do things that a lot of other teams can't, and it's just tough to match up with them. But yeah, that's going to be one of the better series for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 7 games, because I think there's advantages and disadvantages on both sides. If we were talking about a completely healthy Florida team, I think it's Florida. I'm taking all the way to the Cup Finals again, but I just don't know where Matthew Tkachuk's at. I know there's a lot of players like Ekblad's not
Oh yeah.
playing. There's just we don't know where they're at when they're coming back. Whatever it is, whether they're fully healthy or Kachuk's a guy, he's a warrior, and he'll show up with a broken sternum like we saw before. He'll show up like ready whether he is or not. So I do think the Lightning might just outlast them. And I think in a really weird subconscious way, they're like, we don't have any draft picks. Like, this is all we have. This is our life now. Like, we got to do something. Maybe subconsciously, this is the push. So I think Lightning in 7. But Justin, I don't think that the Panthers are a bad pick here. I think it's going to be just fun to watch. This is my most exciting series.
Yeah, and like Borkstrand, I don't think you guys mentioned him,
Yeah,
but like
he's
him
injured for
being
a
out is
bit.
a big injury loss for them.
Yeah.
2 more series left. Montreal sneaks in last night, and Washington. You're probably predicting I'm going to say an upset here. I do have a longer series. I would say I have
That is
Capitals
the
and
upset.
I would have Capitals in 6. I feel like it's like Capitals versus Toronto in 2018 when Toronto took them to 6 games. I feel like that kind of same series is going to happen here. That's the comparison I'm drawing from. So yeah, I'm going Capitals in 6. I think it's going to be a fun series though for Montreal.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm on the same wavelength. I was going to say the exact series. I think Caps in 6. I think again it might be similar to that series that you mentioned with Toronto, and I think the Canadians will kind of go punch for punch with them early, but I think the experience and just the size and the style of the Capitals, I think, will win out in this one, and the Habs will be hopefully back in the playoffs for many years with the young core that they got.
Yeah.
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 It's Caps in 5, unfortunately. I like look, at the end of the day, I think Montreal, good for them, like that they were able to make it and get the experience. And man, they have some exciting talent coming. But I just don't see, like the experience. There's just not much to it. They could have, like, just seeing them, the ability that they could have closed it out against Chicago and they weren't able to do it. It's just a sign that it's like that's the game you got to pounce on, and to draw it out to Carolina, who were resting guys. I think like Rod Brendamore's kid was playing.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Made his
it's
NHL
awesome.
debut.
Yeah, it's awesome that Montreal made it. I'm loving that there's more Canadian teams in the mix, but that's where the buck stops. I think they sneak one, but I think it's the gentleman's sweep here for the Caps.
That's fair. That's fair. I do
Yeah.
think this team can get hot, and I think it's a good matchup in terms of for Montreal. I think
Okay.
Washington is a good matchup. Uh, Battle of Ontario, final one. Do you want me to go first?
Of course.
I have. Okay. I'm gonna be honest.
We don't want you to do anything else, but we
I'm
need you to be honest.
struggling. I'm struggling. I'm really struggling, and the reason being is the Ottawa Senators have not been in the playoffs since 2017, and Brady Tkachuk. There is just no different level than just like full bull, just going full head of steam, seeing red 24/7. It just does not stop for him. But I have Leafs in 7. I do have the Leafs in 7 games. I do think this is going 7. Brady Tkachuk and the Ottawa Senators are going to give them everything that they got. Linus Ullmark is going to be the better goaltender in this series, I think. And
Wow.
Jake Sanderson is going to show that he's a top 5 defenseman in this league. But the Leafs' star power is what's going to really do it, and Mitch Marner is going to have a big impact, in my opinion.
It's hard to not agree with a lot of what you said. I'm surprised a little bit, but I'm definitely taking the Leafs. Like, let's be real. I'm going to take them in 6 games. I think just like some of these other series, there's not a huge discrepancy in a lot of these teams and the talent that they have. But again, the Leafs are just a more experienced team. They've been here before many times in the past, and they've been able to get it done once. And I think all the lessons that they've learned will allow them to kind of dictate how the series will go against Ottawa. I think that in the past they've had other teams dictate their style, their play to them, and I think they're in a better position this year to do the same thing that they've done all year. And as much as it hasn't been successful against Ottawa yet in the regular season, I think even if they get off to a slow start against an opponent that is going to come in hot and they're going to have confidence, I think that they'll be able to kind of settle things down as we get into game 2 and game 3, and they'll eventually kind of take their stranglehold over the Sens and show them what the experience that they'll need to potentially go deeper in the future years. So give me the Leafs, give me Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner, and let's see what they can do. And if I'm wrong again, it is what it is.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I agree with you guys. I'm going to say Toronto in 6 over Ottawa here. The one thing that you made a point of was Brady Tkachuk, Justin, and I think it's fair to be like he's jazzed up, he's emotional, but I'll honestly flip it to say that because it's his first time here, he's seen his brother do it, but I think he's going to be so emotional. And Brady Tkachuk has been known in the past. He's an unbelievable player, and the emotion clearly helps him. He's able to scrap, he's able to throw hits, but he's also been criticized for like abandoning his play and going after guys in the middle of plays and being like, I'm just going to throw a hand.
That is fair.
So my concern is if one guy gets under his skin, and he just sees red, he might not be able to get a hold on his own emotions for the whole series, and the emotions ramp up like tenfold. So I think if there's a guy on the Leafs that can just kind of, hey, like Holmberg or somebody, you're not scoring here. Maybe just go throw a couple of slashes here, just get Tkachuk going and see if, we can throw him off his edges here. I think that might sway the series in the Leafs' favor. And look, like, you got to get it done at some point. The Leafs have gone into the playoffs on an absolute high. We've talked about goaltending before, but I think it's important. They've stumbled into the playoffs before. Not stumbled as in the 8th seed, but
But last year they lost their last 4 games, and this year they won their last 4 games.
Like,
so
it's unbelievable. Stolarz has led in 3 goals in his last 4 games. He's at 3 shutouts. Like, stuff like that matters when you head into the playoffs. They're as good as they've ever been. They're at the top of their game, and I just think that bleeds through at least for the first series. So I'd say Toronto in 6.
Would you guys be shocked though if like Ottawa, like, would you be completely shocked like if Ottawa upset? Like, this is where I'm at. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if Ottawa upset the Leafs. Like, and it's not because the Leafs aren't good. I just think Ottawa is actually a good team that's being slept on.
Well, I think once Montreal and I know it's like the COVID year, but when Montreal, it was 21, when Montreal took down Toronto when they were up 3-1, right? That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And like, that's when my surprise went out the window, because I was like, the minute it went back to 7 games, you knew they were losing game 7. They didn't even score. I think the final was 2-0 in that game, 2-3-0. So I think just my surprise is gone. Like, the shock factor of the Leafs losing is gone now. Like, I'd be upset, but I wouldn't be surprised because, Ottawa is a good young team and they're hungry. They're probably like, Tkachuk is salivating to play on Sunday.
Dylan Cousins, like,
there's
goes on. Tim Stützle,
I wouldn't be surprised.
The whole team.
It's more just because the Leafs will give it away rather than Ottawa wins it. In my opinion, that's not disrespect. The Leafs they won't shine in the moment. And that's kind of where I would see it going.
That's so funny that you say that, because I was going to say that the Leafs losing, if you just told me without context that they lost, I would not be surprised. Even if you told me that they choked the lead or they, had the opportunity and it just didn't take care of business, I wouldn't even necessarily be shocked. I would maybe be shocked if they, got down early and didn't claw their way back and they lost a 3-1 or 4-1 or 4-2 to the Sens, and they just clearly were not the better team. I think there will be times where the Leafs clearly are the better team and will win games probably pretty convincingly in this series, but it's what do they do once they get to, those final moments of the series where they need to be at their best. Like, we've seen them kind of fold in some of those moments, and it's just like, it's going to have to come down to what the big boys can do when they're called upon in those big games and those big moments. So I'm excited to see what this iteration of the team can do in the playoffs, but you can't help but be a little bit pessimistic when you're just getting started.